Hey, Sox fans. Welcome to Good Guys Talk Back, a local fan-centric Chicago White Sox podcast, hosted by Nick Murawski and Pat Hester.
Hey, Sox fans. Welcome back to Good Guys Talk Back. I am Nick Murawski. This is episode 301. It is a fan-centric Chicago White Sox podcast. This is our 7th season. As we talk about opening day, it's finally here. We get to prepare you for what you should expect for the Chicago White Sox. Do whatever you want, feel however you want. It's that kind of season. But we are excited for opening day, as hopefully you are. White Sox baseball is back. You can find this podcast absolutely everywhere you find your podcasts, and we are live every Sunday night now for the next 6 months at 9:15 on the Good Guys Talk Back YouTube channel. With me, as always, my best friend, Pat Hester. Hello, sir.
Sir, it is it's good to be sitting here. I kind of feel like I equate like right now this show. I know it's not, I know opening day isn't tomorrow, but I feel like this show is almost like the Christmas Eve of the baseball season. It's opening day. It's the one time a year, especially this year, that you and I and other Sox fans will just say, "Oh, F it. It's opening day. Let's all show up and just have a great time together and celebrate what it is to be a miserable Sox fan and in the company of other miserable Sox fans." But with big smiles on our faces, because we get to see a lot of people we don't see a lot, and people we haven't seen since last year. I know there's a lot of bonds that have been created over things like this and social media. So it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to spend that day with you, buddy.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about it. Hey, hello to Sydney and Pete, Steve, Josh, and John. So great to have all of you with us. Josh is asking about bets. What in God's name did we do? I know we put not dumb money, but what ended up being any money you put down on the Sox to win the division was dumb money. We put maybe $20 on whatever those odds were last year.
They were 3,500 to 1 to win the division.
It was right.
Is what it was.
That's right.
And at one point, you and I could have bought that bet back and got 10 cents back each. We decided, let's roll the dice. Let's let it ride.
Yeah. Okay. That's right. So we haven't done any bets yet. We haven't placed any, but towards the end of this episode, we'll talk maybe some predictions. Now, Pat's go-to that horse that he would ride year after year, Yoan Moncada, is no longer in a White Sox uniform. So
I whipped that horse.
You did.
I got on that horse and looked back and said, "Well, you've been eating a little much there, Pat." Yeah. And then I'd whip it. Whip that horse, and then he just
Rusty. Oh, Rusty, easy. Man, that was. But you know what? Hey, to your credit, it was supposed to happen. It was like, well, maybe this year's the Moncada year. I think now it's actually happening.
Stars were lining at one point, and then hamstrings and obliques up snapping in half, and that's usually a bad thing for a player.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit of injury, some of the things that we do know already with this roster, what Venable is planning, and all that other fun stuff. So here we are. Opening day is Thursday, March 27th. There's one more spring training game, Monday, March 24th. And this is against the Angels. It's a 3:10 start. And that's I kind of like that 3:10 for the opening day, because there's a lot of stuff going on. You know, the 1:10 is a little early to cram in all the things you want to do. And like you had said, people you want to check in with, because, you've got your friends and then you've got your White Sox friends. And here are the people that really only they can only truly feel the real pain that you feel in life. And you commiserate with them, celebrate with them. And it's around the ballpark or tailgates. And you see them in your section or at the bar or whatever beforehand. And you kind of say goodbye during the winter. Everybody does their own thing, and it's like boom, you're back in the baseball season, and you can reconnect. Obviously, things are so much easier these days with social media and all this other stuff. But here we are. You and I are going to be at the opening day, and you are working some magic. I know that Yingling is going to be in the rate, as it's now called, which is such it's a ridiculous name, but so it's in the rate, and you are 100% responsible for getting Yingling. Yeah, that's what I've been telling all my friends.
Well, I'm not 100% responsible for anything. Our great distributor partners at Chicago Beverage Systems, they're the ones that do a lot of that stuff. We're just there for support, but we will be available somewhere. I'm not sure, inside the ballpark. And you and I, we're going to be hobnobbing in the suite with my good friends and partners at ESPN Chicago. So we'll be up in the suite. But before the game, pop out. Carmen, New York will be broadcasting live at Cork and Carry, and I'll be buying some Yinglings. So if you want a free beer from me, come on by. I'll be just letting that credit card just start on fire, and come on by. It'll be a great day of merriment and joy and passion, and I'm looking forward to it.
So we have to go to Cork and Carry. So we're going to go over there.
We got to pop over there.
Maybe you and I will just do a little bit of tailgating on our own. We got to get over to the Sports Bums, the Chicago Sports Bums. They're doing their Whiskey at Comiskey in Lot B. Great people. You're going to eat, drink, have a wonderful time. It's just nice to rub shoulders with some like-minded people. Are you
going to look for Schriffen again this year, Nick? And
I am always
on a tour
of
Lot B, as you did last opening day.
That's right. We're coming up to the 1-year anniversary where I was able to shepherd a very lost, very confused John Schriffen into
very lost and very confused John Schriffen, by the way.
Hey now.
You're not much of a shepherd, Nick.
Yeah. I was not a very good I needed to be more of a Sherpa, because it's a rocky the terrain is difficult with the fandom and with everything going on. So I needed to be a little bit better. I should have been more of a mentor to him. I should have checked in more during the season, and that's on me. But I think he is going to make. There was a shout out, from what I understand, during a spring training telecast about the Whiskey at Comiskey at Lot B. So he might be. Yeah, of course. I'm sure he's going to be there.
Okay. Well, I look forward to you introducing me to your longtime friend, John Schriffen.
I will. And you can, maybe, I don't know if he's going to have a Yingling or not, but maybe you can introduce him to the product. And
should I do my impression of what a Panther should sound like?
I think that's how you should introduce yourself.
I should just growl at him. Panther.
I think he'd welcome that. I'm sure he hasn't heard that before. He'll enjoy. I think he'll just eat all that stuff up. But yeah, what's the weather looking like right now? I'm hearing like high 50s, maybe 60, a little cloudy.
I'm seeing, down by me in Shanahan, where it's like San Diego. Beautiful and sunny. It's usually about a 10-degree difference between where I'm at and especially early spring. I saw earlier today maybe a low 50s and partly cloudy situation. I'll take that. I mean, it could be worse. We've gone when there's flurries in the air and there's rain. As long as there's that rain and the wind isn't so awful, I mean, I think it's tolerable.
The last, we've been to a couple opening day. I think the last one you and I were at was the Kopech situation where they played the Giants and he gave up 17 runs or something.
Yeah.
And he was tipping his pitches, and we ended up finding ourselves in that Liney Lodge or whatever they were calling it, with that lopsided shuffleboard table, that warped shuffleboard table. And we found ourselves down there in the old Craft Cave, whatever they call it. It's a new thing every single year. But a couple years before that, in 2021, I believe, you and I were out in left field, and it was like misting and raining, and that was when the Mercedes bomb happened. That like 470-foot 500 shot, whatever it was, that was really inclement. It was sideways rain, and Lynn was on the mound, and I think it was against the Royals.
Yes.
We came
You're
out on
remembering all
top.
that correctly. Yeah.
And that was a bad, but we've been there in shorts. There's been flurries. I mean, it's like you weather it. It's a holiday. I'm absolutely excited, and we're gonna hopefully meet a bunch of people and have some fun.
And if you're speaking of that, if you remember correctly, that was when they still weren't at max capacity.
They were not
COVID,
no,
so it was where there was some restrictions that we were still trying to have to follow. There was seats that were all bungee corded up that you couldn't sit for some reason next to people. It was an interesting time.
They were actually trying to keep Sox fans corralled in certain sections. Like if you got a ticket for this section and you tried to walk beyond that in the concourse, and some poor 17-year-old is trying to stop 8 drunken maniacs.
Hey, mister, you can't go that way.
I've got specific health regulations that permit me from. It's like, get out of my way.
It's some guy that's probably pissing his pants or something, doing the old walk and pee, and he's trying to tell him he can't go somewhere.
And because at most stadiums, there's the food, the great stuff that they're serving is only available in certain sections.
Right.
So people are like, damn it, there's these new food items. Well, I got to get all the way to the other side, or there's certain drinks that are being served and I don't have it over here. So you're not going to get in my way, punk. Get out of me. And that was just to see some of these. That was a horrible assignment. I felt bad for some of these teenagers, but thankfully we're out of those times.
Yes, and much of a brighter time.
Oh yeah,
in our existence. Are we going to talk food today? By the way,
yes, let's talk.
We don't have to go there now, but you had mentioned it, and I saw CBS did an extensive coverage of the White Sox food 2025 food reveal, which. Yeah, it's like, here we go with a milkshake probably going to represent us again in the All-Star.
Does that bother you? Does it
bother me? There was a couple things that it doesn't bother me because it looks fantastic. It's always great, right? But one year maybe I would like eventually for the hype to be around the players and the opportunity.
Yeah.
But I'll take food. I'm not opposed to the food thing. It's all good.
Yeah, I think what rubs a lot of people the wrong way, and rightfully so, is some of these flashy items that they talk about are only available in, the suites or maybe in the club, what used to be called the Huntington Bank, up there in right field up there.
Right.
Where Herring got married.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I can't think of the name of it now, but the where it's the glass.
It's the haves and the have-nots.
Our friend Jack had his wedding reception.
Yes,
up there.
absolutely.
Beautiful.
And that's where you're going to get some of your things. And so it's tough for an everyday fan to experience all the new stuff, right? Because it's kind of only for the elite. But they got, what is it, the Celebration Birthday Milkshake? That's the big thing here, with a pinwheel sugar cookie as a garnish that's about the size of a 16-inch softball on top of this milkshake, with a bunch of cut up, looked like vanilla cake or something in there. Look, the campfire milkshake was good. Is it worth the price? Probably not, but it's a tasty.
What did you pay for a milkshake last year, Nick? Oh, you don't mind my asking you?
Yeah, this is a great question. I'm going to somebody will correct me, I'm sure. $14?
Okay.
$13-14. Is that right? Was it about that?
It could be. I didn't get one. I never got one last year. And, maybe because I wasn't willing to fork over the $14 for a milkshake, but was it worth it? Whatever it was, let's say it was under $20. Was it worth it for you? Did it exceed all your expectations?
It's not like I bought the milkshake and then ran into a corner and just hoarded the milkshake. It's a large enough milkshake for you so you can split it up, And I split it up with my wife and my son, was 2 at the time, and he enjoyed the hell out of the thing. And that experience alone, okay, it's worth it. Like that was a fun experience. If I was just a man just traveling, walking around the stadium, sucking down a $14 milkshake, I don't know if I'd make that decision. I
think you and I
would.
should get this birthday cake shake and do just walk up there and say 2 straws, please.
Yeah.
Like we're at an ice cream social.
Yeah, sure.
Two men sharing a milkshake together.
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that when that is the highlight in 2025. There's more than just the milkshake. I mean, that's a handsome milkshake. And I get it. There's frustration of, boy, here we go again. It's about the food and not the players. I get that. But it ain't going to be about the players this year. We just have to, if you're not accepting it, I suggest that you do accept that and just completely say this is a wash. Enjoy just being there. Enjoy the fact that it's Sox baseball. If you can, if you want to, Sox as an entity, as a thing, as an existence, in no way competitive. But you've got 24 new food and drink options. Korean bubble waffles. How about that?
All right.
Korean corn dogs, brisket cheese curds. Now I might pay $14 for that. I don't know how much that is, but brisket cheese curds. I believe there's a smash burger patty melt. Is that a double? Maybe a double patty. A 35th Street Reuben. Did you see the pictures of this thing? Do you like a good Reuben sandwich?
See the Reuben sandwich. No.
Yeah.
I saw some type of wrap, like like there's an Italian wrap that looked appetizing, but I didn't see the Reuben.
Yeah, the Reuben sandwich, and of course we talked about Yingling. I didn't get a sense of all the other drinks that are showing up throughout the stadium. We talked about the name being changed, so it's not Guaranteed Rate Field; it's the rate. So get to know and understand that. And the Chicago Sports Depot, which was that souvenir shop that was connected to the stadium, they rebranded. They did a whole grand reopening this past weekend, and it's called, I think, the Sox Team Store. So.
Okay.
The pictures, they changed some things inside. So the logo is kind of nice that they got on the side of the building. So those are some new things. But in terms
how many
of
meetings do you think it took for them to come up with the name for that? By the way, because there's got to be like a marketing meeting. They're sitting down and thinking, okay, guys, give me your 5 best names for this place.
Yeah.
And maybe it was right up against lunch and they just went, we're just going with Sox Team Store and that's it.
I imagine they were hung up on, should it be White Sox Team Store, the White Sox Team Store, or Sox Team Store? I mean, who knows?
That was probably at least a meeting, possibly a Teams meeting or a virtual meeting that people had to be there for.
Yeah, they had to attend that, and they got it done. I think the Azaru was at the grand reopening. I saw some stuff on that. I'll check it out. I'll duck in. I'm no stranger to grabbing myself a media guide and some other.
Oh,
merch.
I know that's the first thing you're doing when you get there. 100%.
The first thing I'm doing is I'm checking for pocket schedules. I'm looking for pocket schedules. And I'm looking for my media guide.
What are the chances you find a pocket schedule?
I'm very convinced I will find a pocket schedule.
Okay.
It'll be a watered down version of their pocket schedules from years past, which was like, basically it was like a road atlas from like the Midwest, those pocket schedules.
It was a random
folded
alley,
32
right
different times, and it had everything that was going on like throughout the whole season, all in print form, all these different graphics. It's much more condensed, but they're there. I'll find them.
Okay.
I know I'll find them, and I'm convinced I will. Sydney said last episode that the magnetic schedule is going to be given out, I think, on Sunday in the weekend series. So I'm going to have to find somebody that's got an extra one.
ticket. You're going to go to the. I mean,
no. I'm no. I will get a magnetic schedule somehow. So.
On the black market, you'll find it.
Right. But eating and drinking. We talked about this whiskey at Comiskey thing, where they're going to be doing a bunch of different food, and so many people with their own tailgates. But you walk through the parking lots on opening day. How about it? It's awesome. Just absolutely awesome. Everybody's in a good mood. I mean, but the neighborhood, man, there's a lot of great stuff in the neighborhood. People sleep on the neighborhood. You get there early, go to Rickabenny's, go to Turtles and Cork and Carry, sure. But there's some awesome Punkies. It's great food. Phil's Pizza is the best pizza in Chicago. It might be the best pizza in all of North America. 35th and Aberdeen. Phil's Pizza. Their hours, you got to check on their hours. I know sometimes they don't open till a little bit later in the afternoon. There's seating inside. Order yourself a pizza post game. Pick it up and just eat it while you're driving home or on the train or something. You will not be disappointed. It is by far the best pizza.
That's a veteran move right there, Nick. I've never thought about doing that, getting a pizza to go. Now I have. The only thing I've done after a game is when you used to live there is use your house as to relieve myself before I got on 55 and had to go home.
I would get a text, "Hey, can I come use your bathroom?" There's nothing wrong with that.
I wasn't going in the streets. I mean, at least I'm not an animal.
I know. Well, we've all gone in the streets at some point in our lives.
True.
And there's enough alleys and dumpsters for you to, for it to be passable. But so there's a lot to eat and drink. There's some great stuff, man. There really is. And, up and down Halstead, get there early. Jackalope Coffee. I mean, if you want to get early and you're looking for breakfast sandwiches and just a place to sit down and some really good vibes, Jackalope Coffee is great. Stockyard Coffee, another good joint that's very close to the ballpark. So, it is a holiday. I consider it a holiday, Pat. And so I'm really looking forward. We're going to have to get our plans together. We're going to have to get down there early, I think.
Well, we have to have a conversation after we stop recording. People probably don't want to hear us go over our plans from the moment we wake up. But I look forward to it. Again, I'm excited regardless of what the year is going to be. But I mean, it's a fun day, as you mentioned, to just rub elbows with some great folks and the food options, as you mentioned. I don't want to poo-poo it. I mean, the publicity that it gets sometimes puts a bad taste in your mouth, no pun intended. But I mean, it's part of being a Sox fan. That is part of the experience, and taking that all in and enjoying all that that the ballpark does have to offer. Unfortunately, as you mentioned, some of it you can't find everywhere, but for what you can get every day, just walking around the ballpark, fantastic stuff. Again, my go-to item when I'm down and 100 level is the Italian sausage with the green peppers and onions and the marinara sauce. And boy, get some napkins, get a knife and fork possibly, and bring that with you. You want to be sitting when you're consuming that item. And if you can make it through without getting something on your lap, I mean, that's a feat in itself.
Yeah, you have to exercise some patience, when you're getting a dog with or a Polish with grilled onions, and you want to get there and you want to get your food, but you got to let those onions caramelize. You got to wait a couple innings. Okay, you got to wait for that stuff to just marinate and let it do its thing. And I've had because of the decisions I've made facial hair wise, there's some things that are just off the table for me. I don't think I can do the sausage with all the marinara and the peppers and everything. I would have to bring a comb and a whole thing. And but there are things that I can still absolutely enjoy, and I will. I just can't wait. I really I'm that excited. Howard and Scott and Sean, thank you so much for jumping in. Howard had a question, and we were talking about how to get Chicago Sports Network, this new network. How are you going to watch the games if you're not going to be at the game, right? That's the big issue. And there hasn't been a deal with Comcast, and right now it's DirecTV. It's there's another streaming platform that's kind of sports heavy, and they've got the app and stuff like this. So I've been experimenting with DirecTV Stream. So no dish. It's very, very similar to YouTube TV. I mean, now that YouTube TV is like the price is going up and up. I mean, we still have like some live TV stuff in our house. And I'm thinking about just going with this DirecTV Stream app, put the app on my TVs. And that's what I've been kind of working with the last couple days. I like it. I'm not losing anything. Again, a little bit more in price per month, but it's a month-to-month thing with DirecTV Stream. And after, my 6 months, I might make a different decision. So that's where I'm at right now.
Wow. This is new news. DirecTV Stream. So right now you're flirting with another streaming service.
Correct. Yeah.
While you still have YouTube, right?
Well, you can pause YouTube TV up to 8 weeks.
Okay.
And then the pause will become more of a stop, and then I'll have to maybe restart. But I mean, again, it's not a big difference per month. So, I think that's where I'm at.
Well, let me know how that goes. I'm still holding out hope that there's going to be a 13th hour deal that's done between Comcast and CHSN. We shall see. It's unfortunate that's where we're at the moment, but again, these teams with these channels that they've launched have just not worked out really well for the teams in general, and the biggest losers in it all are the fans, right?
It's the young fans too. Yeah. I mean, it's all fans, but I was just talking about this situation with my neighbor recently. I mean, you got young kids in your life and you're trying to get them excited about whether it's the Hawks or the Bulls and in our case, the Sox. And for that to be completely not an option, not even on the background, not even something to kind of just expose them to the sport and know that this is kind of the thing we do in our family or whatever, to not even have that in 2025 on the regular, you got to find all these other back channels. That's so goofy. Yeah. Talk about not being able to grow your brand. Wow.
Yeah. Ooh. Because at some point, you're going to miss out on a generation of fans, and the ones that you do have are just going to get so fed up with, trying to figure out how to watch the games. They're just going to say, F it. Well, I'll just read it on Twitter and see how they did last night, I guess.
Yeah, and you're going to just have kids growing up that I never really had a attachment to them. It wasn't something that we really watched or that I tuned into. We definitely didn't go to a lot of games. So I'm like, and you're just hoping maybe they pick it up later on if it's more accessible. And with the teams as bad as they are right now, obviously you can make excuses for why you're not going to go the extra mile and what's the point of even trying to consume it. But yeah. You and I and so many people that are with us tonight and, that we'll run into on opening day, we're just all, made a little bit differently, I guess. And
I hope that at some point, Nick, we'll look back on this time period and we'll say, oh my God, can you believe it? Can you believe that we were a fan of the worst team in the sport, that following that year, you couldn't even find them on or most fans couldn't watch them on their television or any way. They couldn't consume the games. I mean, I hope that at some point we look back and just chuckle about all these things that are like, we weathered some storms as a fan base, and I hope we're better off on the back end eventually, and we get some sort of reward for the patience that this group has had over the years.
Man, it's a segue into another just disappointing thing that's going on with this team: injuries. I mean, we had this, every team goes through it. I felt like we had it a lot during the previous rebuild. And did I read somewhere 5 or 6 pitchers for the White Sox have had Tommy John surgery, like over the off season or something? I mean, the latest is Drew Thorpe with that announcement that he's going to undergo TJ surgery. And that's the big, I guess that would be the big get from the Dylan Cease trade that happened just about a year ago.
Yeah.
And he, having problems with his elbow at the end of the season, had some kind of minor surgery in the off season. And I did a podcast with Magnificent Brian and Brewhand Luke earlier today for Brian's drafty pod, and Brewhand, we were talking about this thing with Drew Thorpe, and Brewhand Luke, funniest thing, Brewhand Luke's like, I was at Sox Fest and Drew Thorpe came out onto their stage at the Ramova, and everybody's like throwing and chucking the t-shirts at fans. Well, Drew Thorpe kind of just like underhand, like tossed it. And he's like, I know something was going on here. He did not give his full effort on that t-shirt toss. So something was brewing even in the winter. But yeah, here we are. Drew Thorpe, it's just like I made a joke about it a couple episodes ago, Pat, of like, don't even get hyped about a pitcher these days.
Yeah.
Until after they've had their Tommy John and are recovering. It's just a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
It's a weird era, man, but it is here and it's happening everywhere.
We have gotten to the point where Tommy John surgeries would go down or something. You think, okay, this is how you prevent yourself from having to get this surgery. But with the amount of torque that these guys put on the baseball these days and the stress that goes on the elbow, I guess it's ridiculous to think that they would go down. But part of me almost says, well, okay, so you put them on the shelf for a year and a half. This team's not going to be good over that time span. It wasn't like because of that loss, we're going to not contend this year, and it kind of ruins or stops the season before it starts. It's like, okay, well, maybe when he's back and healthy, maybe by then we'll be in a position that we need him to have a successful season.
I get that. I completely understand that. It's just when he comes back, it's not like he's just going to be back in form. Like there's going to be that ramping up, and there's going to be the normal ups and downs of a young pitcher, right? I mean, few just come out like Skeens in Pittsburgh. Few are just phenoms their first year, and there is no bump. There is no, wobbly terrain for a while. So you're going to have the ramp up, can he do all the pitches? Can he go the distance? All this stuff, the durability, the velocity. And then he's going to have to learn also to be a pitcher at the big league level, which happens with these guys. You got to take your bumps and figure out what you're doing. So like, there's all of that kind of wasted time too. It'd be amazing if you could snap your finger. He's healthy and he has all the knowledge and all the, everything that he missed out on for a season or so. But, it's just, it's really, really frustrating. I mean, the amount of injuries, and it's not just Tommy John, surgery for the Sox, even though it's maddening. I mean, you got, Drury breaks his thumb and gets released. There are a couple other guys dealing with, hamstring stuff and other injuries. Just wild, man. I mean, again, I haven't consumed hardly any spring training action, reading a ton of articles, catching up what I can, but talk about the walking wounded. Yeah. And the other part of it is like, you're like, who are these guys to begin with? Who are these guys that are going under the knife? I mean, that sucks that we got another guy gotten Tommy John, but who is that? Yeah. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Again, talk about like really having to reintroduce or introduce yourself for the first time to these players. Most fans are gonna, if you can get the team and watch them or listen to them, it's going to be the first month or so of just trying to figure out who are these guys.
Well, I do have good news for you, though, Nick, in terms of the injury front. Andrew Benintendi back today in the lineup.
Yeah, that's true.
I was listening in the car for a very short time, and I heard him track down a fly ball.
There you
So
go.
that's good.
Legs are working. He
Sounds
had some
like
positive things to
he's
say.
there.
Positive things to say. I think he was out in the field, and Luis Robert Jr. was DHing. Which Luis Robert Jr. You want to talk about positives? I mean, this dude, 4 home runs in the spring with 1 game remaining, 2.90 ERA or something, or average, 385 OPB, 511 slugging. This is something he did say, though, recently. Because again, there's a lot of trade rumors and stuff circling his world, and that will be the case, especially if he catches fire up until the trade deadline. But, questioning him on, hey, if you stick around, do you think you'll actually be part of a winning team again? And this is what Luis Robert Jr. said just recently through an interpreter. If I stay here with my actual contract, it will be just 2 more seasons, this one and 2 more. Robert, who is going to earn $15 million in 2025 with a $20 million club option for 26 and 27 and a $2 million buyout each season. I don't know if we are going to be ready to compete for a World Series title in 3 years. And then went on to, say a bunch of other stuff about how he's just kind of happy that he's here and all that kind of stuff and trying to put the distractions out. But that is going to be, he hasn't really dealt with it like he's going to right now. It's going to be the one thing of trying to keep his body healthy, but then it's going to be a lot on his shoulders, man, with surrounding trade conversations.
Yeah. Does it seem, and maybe it's just the pure fact that there just aren't a lot of people that, the press is going after, that they know that, the fan base isn't really interested in hearing from. I feel like I've heard more from Luis Robert Jr. this spring in terms of quotes than in years past. Does it just maybe seem anecdotal that it feels that way to me, or does it feel like it might be a real thing?
I think you're onto something there, and I guess I could assume it's an elder statesman, and not that elder, but in terms of this crop of players, I mean, this is the guy. This is the superstar that you actually want to talk to, and I'm assuming, these folks that still have a job putting sports articles for some sort of publication out there. They know, Luis Robert Jr. content. That's what people are going to want to get at. And that's been, something that we and every other Sox podcast and fans everywhere have chopped up quite a bit this offseason. Will he? Won't he? What's going to happen with this guy? So, I think that sells, or that, above the fold, as they say, it would be about Luis Robert Jr. I don't care to hear too many more quotes from Andrew Vaughn right now. It's like I'd rather, I guess, hear from Luis Robert Jr.
That's your guy, though. I guess it's just purely he's the last man really that's playing musical chairs. I mean,
the last man out of Saigon. It's true. This is it. He looks around and he's like, "What happened?
Yeah,
what happened?"
Yeah, you've removed the I mean, this is going to sound bad, but the voice, I guess, of the team, which was a Tim Anderson. He's no longer around. You've got, not that he talked a lot, but the unassumed captain of the team, and Abreu has been gone for a little while now, and Moncada is no longer around. Not that these guys really were big voices, but at least there was kind of like a lot of well-known people that you could kind of go to and get
core.
It
was referred now to as the core.
It's all focused on Lou Bob right now, and boy, oh boy, these beat writers are going to have a heck of a time trying to fill stories with other things when he's gone. I mean, quite frankly, that's what everybody's I believe going to glean to over the next couple of months.
Yeah, you're going to have articles about guys working on new things and hope for health and new strategies. And we talk about investing money and trying to watch the White Sox. Put your money in trying to watch minor league baseball. Try to watch Noah Schultz and Hagen Smith and Colson Montgomery. Try to find out a streaming package because that's going to have, I guess, more meaning down the road than whatever's happened at 35th and Shields right now.
Yeah.
That's the future.
And I don't think we talked about it. So I think it happened on one of our off weeks is Colson Montgomery not making the team. I mean, I don't think we've talked a lot about that.
We haven't, but I got zero problem with that.
Yeah.
What's the point? I mean, what is the point of rushing a guy if he's having little back stuff, or if he's maybe his swing's not there, or just let it easy, big fella.
Okay.
I'm okay with that. Aren't you? Or do you want to see him on the opening day? You want to see him on Thursday?
I guess maybe selfishly, I would like to see him. But what you're saying makes sense. But at first blush, I go, boy, you can't make this team. I mean, it makes me worried about what this guy is really made up of, right? If there's something wrong with the swing, if you're telling me it's just, there's precautions
I think it's
that want to be
just
taken.
A little bit more maturation. I think it's just give him a little bit more. He'll be here eventually, but
is all that service time garbage the thing of the past, or is this a service time manipulation thing?
I think service time is still a real thing.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if it's necessarily that. I mean, we have seen players that have just dominated spring and have just shown that they're ready, and there's nothing else to prove. I think there might be some stuff to prove still.
Yeah.
Montgomery.
Okay.
And yes, we desperately need a shortstop that actually can play shortstop. That's their position, but not in this situation. We don't need it that bad, in my opinion.
Okay. I get it. I'll be patient for him. And Howard says no sense in starting the service time clock. I trust Howard knows more about service time situations than I do. So I get it. It makes sense from a business standpoint. It makes sense from a health standpoint for him. There's no reason to have him here. I get it. I guess selfishly as a fan that's going to be in the building on Thursday, he'd be someone I would be interested to see, get 3 or 4 at bats, I guess.
Yeah, it'll happen. It'll be there. We got some word on pitching, a Rule 5, Mr. Rule 5 draft pick. Shane Smith had a fun, emotional moment. He's going to make the club. He earned that spot. Sean Burke. The Sean Burke, Sean Burke. He's going to be
24 innings of major league experience, correct? Something crazy like that.
Some record that he's holding in terms of being your opening day starter. We got a half a cup of coffee with him at the end of last year. Very little, but good. Whatever he gave you, three or four innings, it was like, okay. You seem like you know what you're doing, sir.
Is it how the meeting went? Yeah. I don't know. Good, right? You seem to
right.
be...
We're all saying that. We're all seeing that. Those 3 innings that was good. That was what we kind of want.
You seem to be able to, tuck your shirt in properly. You look like you fit the part. Why don't we throw you out there on opening day? Sounds good.
I mean, I don't know if there's a player, Pat, that you can say, are you really excited for any player that you want to see on Thursday, or is it more the fleece blanket? Because I know you were really big on this fleece blanket giveaway.
I can't wait to get my hands on a fleece blanket. I'm sure it won't be large enough for me, but a fleece blanket nonetheless. And it does make me feel somewhat elderly. Like I feel like I should be pushed around in some type of wheelchair with a blanket over my lap. But I'm excited for a fleece blanket.
Should be a fleece blanket and water bottle. Just some sort of hot water bottle for your what ails you, for your lap. Maybe a heating pad.
Maybe like a cup of soup would be nice.
Fleece blanket and a cup of soup. Come on out here to the old ballpark, to the rate. It looks like a great fleece blanket. I'm excited for this purchase.
Should be good.
Purchase. It's a giveaway.
Yeah.
So that's going to be great. So we got one more game with spring training, but here we're at so far. Sox finishing up Sunday here, March 23rd, 10-19, last place in the Cactus League. Second worst spring training record in all of baseball. Boy, the Marlins are just awful.
Yeah.
And Sox have a minus 36 run differential, which is the second worst in all of baseball. Again, Marlins are your champion in that world. So what is happening with this roster? What's going on? Who's in? Who's out? What's the bench going to look like? A lot of question marks, and it looks like Will Venable is not giving up any secrets. Here's what he had to say on Sunday. There are some question marks with some of these guys with their health. So we're going to run it right up to the deadline here, Venable said prior to Sunday's Cactus League contest against the Diamondbacks. I talked to some guys today apologizing for the lack of information and just confirmation on where they're going. Communication is never a problem with this organization, huh?
No, so, never. They've always been top-notch in communication skills.
Yeah. So it sounds like whenever I read a quote like that or hear something like that, I say to myself, he has no idea what's going on right now. And that's fine. There's been a lot of injuries and there's a lot of stuff, but he doesn't know. And he might just close his eyes or ask some people around him. We got to just put some bodies out there. I don't know. Let's all write down names, just pull them out. And we'll fit this. Who's going to know? What's the difference? You can't, really, it's a crapshoot.
Yeah. Interesting. I find it odd that you have to go to your players and apologize, I guess, for the situation that they're in. I'm really sorry that I have no clue what we're doing.
Sorry, I forgot to talk to you for the last 6 weeks. I've been.
Who are you again?
Sorry, can you turn around? I'd like to see the name on the back of your jersey.
Very interesting. But I will say this, Nick. Most likely they'll end this spring training 10 games under 500 is what I'm assuming. If they could find a way to finish only 10 games under 500 for the year,
what? 10 games under 500 for the year, Pat?
Yeah, why not?
Nuts?
I think
are you
insane? They can do it.
If they, here's the thing, and I was talking to our dear friend Eric Carlson about this recently, who does the voice of our intro. By the way, he does an outstanding Gene Honda impression. And Eric, we were talking about how even if the Sox improved by 20 games, they've still lost over 100 games. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you're telling me there's a window or you see a path where the Sox could be 10 games under 500?
Based on what I've seen in spring training, Nick. I mean, I'm no ad wizard here, but I'm telling you.
If the Sox win 60 games, you give Venable like a lifetime contract. You build a statue. I mean, that's I can't even tell you how that won't happen.
Could you imagine what they have to put on the plaque for that statue? This is Will Venable. No one knew him. No one knew what he could do, but somehow, some way, he won.
If someone said to you, "Could you for $100? I'll give you $100 cash right now. What number does Will Venable wear? Would you be able to win that $100?
There's no. I mean, I'd be taking a complete guess.
Yeah.
Do you have it?
Nope. I have zero idea what number he wears. I'll find out on Thursday, I guess.
Unless will say
pullovers on. He's got the fleece blanket wrapped around his body.
Yeah.
And then I won't be able to get a number.
I think that's
Howard's saying number one. I trust Howard.
I was going to say number one because it should be available. Yeah, I think actually it'd be fun if Venable just wore whatever the giveaway for the day was. Like if it's Hawaiian shirt day, he wears the Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. Some of those Sox fleece like hoodies or whatever they're giving away with the retro jerseys. Those are nice. There are some nice giveaways, man. Yes. We covered the giveaways a couple weeks ago. If you like giveaways, if that's your thing. Bobbleheads are my thing, and there's some wonderful bobbleheads. Mid-July is basically Burley weekend. You got a ton of
birthday
stuff
today, by the way. Happy birthday, Mark Burley.
Man, future Hall of Famer Mark Burley. That's wonderful.
I know he'll be listening to this show, and I'll be very excited that we remembered his birthday today.
Former resident of Ruffled Feathers, out in like the Lamont area, I believe.
Oh, is that right?
I think he used to live in Ruffled Feathers. I don't know if he still does or not. I doubt it. I think he's out somewhere in Missouri. But yeah, it's a nice area over there.
I'm sure it is.
So, you might want to say to yourself, hey, who's on this team? What's going on? Saw some blurbs just, this past week as I was trying to catch up. Here were some, just to jog the memory, Pat, if you weren't already familiar with these people. Here were some of the key major league signings this past offseason. Martin Perez, Josh Rojas, Mike Tauchman, Michael A. Taylor, Austin Slater, Bryce Wilson. What do you think about that group there?
Oh, I thought you were doing attendance for your class. I was waiting for you to actually give me names of baseball players that I may or may not recognize.
I mean, Rojas might be your starter in the infield. Tauchman might get a start out in the outfield. I don't know what's going to happen with Taylor and Austin Slater. I thought they were kind of high on initially. Perez will be in your starting rotation, I think. So again, it's like these are the guys that they're dealing with. Obviously, Yohan Moncada's gone. They declined on Max Stassi. So here were some key trades and claims. Okay, you ready for these?
Yeah.
Claimed right-hand pitcher Penn Murphy. We've got obviously Shane Smith in the Rule 5 draft, and he made the team, which is great. Acquired Kyle Teal, Braden Montgomery, Chase Madroth, Wilcom Gonzalez. Those were all the gets from the Garrett Crochet deal. You might see Madroth at second base. Kyle Teal, we've got some depth at catcher. Okay, so they were busy with that. We required Matt Thaiss from the Cubs. We got Cash from the Angels for Chucky Robbins.
Will Cash be playing a position at all?
Cam Boozer,
a bag with a dollar sign on it out at second base
corner. There you go. One of those big bags that, they have those jack-o'-lantern bags that people put their leaves in during the fall. Just one of those big old bags with just a dollar sign on it, just so it covers a little bit of the space out there in second base.
You need one of those big. Then if you do that, then you got to go with the spiders. They have the big legs hanging out.
Spider, that's true.
There you go. Now we solved it.
Might as well. Tyler Gilbert. Jacob Amaya, Brandon Eisert, Owen White. Those were your trades and claims. Here's some minor league signings. Brandon Drury, he hurt himself in the sacks. We're like, you're gone. Joey Gallo was released and decided now he's going to be a pitcher. Bobby Dahlbeck, Omar Narvaez, he did some stuff on Sunday here. James Karnichik, he's from Cleveland. Tristan Gray and Travis Jankowski. He was throwing some leather on Sunday in the outfield. And then Mike Clevenger. They decided to take another trip around the block with Clevenger, and he might be the back of the bullpen. So
I would say of all the names you just spewed at me, I'd say Montgomery and Teal would be the ones that would be people of interest for me to keep an eye on throughout the year.
Yeah, I like the catching depth. I really do. I think you're going to have like Vargas could be playing third. Is Ramos still dealing with some injuries? Is he viable for DH? There's a lot of moving parts. Guys that like Lenyn Sosa, he could play short. He could play second. Are they going to keep him around as a utility guy? That was the big thing with Pedro Grifol and most managers, right? Like, I want versatility. I want guys that can play multiple positions. But then you start getting into a situation, which I think the Sox are in right now, where we don't have guys that are like proven in one position.
Yeah.
Like, this is my position. I've been playing it for years.
Mm-hmm.
You've got guys that like, I could do that. And I could also do this. And and that's wonderful and all. But I just want some guys that, hey, I play this. Don't question me. You've got me.
My abilities.
Don't question my abilities.
Really
Set it and forget it. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great. I wonder this year, Nick, with the lack of let's call it star power on this team. Do they cart people out in cars this year in the Chevy? Like the with the no top cars, whatever you call those.
The convertibles.
Convertible.
I like
couldn't think of
top,
it.
I'm hoping. What kind of car are you looking for, sir? No top. Like, where are your no tops at?
You just
take my money.
Sometimes you have like a little bit of a brain fart there, and I just couldn't think of what a convertible was.
I think it should be changed. To no top.
I don't think I wouldn't go that route this year. I would just put the names up on the scoreboard and let them just run out.
Yeah. All of them out at the same time.
Don't even announce the names. Just say
here they all are. You'll figure it out as the season goes on. If I'm a sponsor, it's like I don't even want to be attached to these. These characters. Josh asks if Dallas Keuchel's available. Sean says he's converted to DH. I think that's probably a better route for Keuchel. I think Lance Lynn's still looking for a job. I thought he was going to land with the Northsiders, but I don't think that worked out. I think Johnny Cueto still wants to pitch somewhere. You know what? I'd love to have Johnny Cueto on the ball club.
Why don't you just do it all? Get Keuchel, Cueto, and Lynn. Sign them all up for a year. Give them a year contract. They just want a paycheck. That would improve them to the 10 games under 500 that I'm talking about, Nick.
Well, how about Abreu? Abreu's still without a home.
Well, he should retire a White Sox anyway.
Yeah.
Let him come back. Not that he went anywhere anyway. Well, he did go to the Astros, but let him come back and do service for 1 year, and then retire.
Yeah, I think that's the route. If he, I'm sure there was some bad blood, of course, when he left. And like a lot of those, I think it happened with Thomas, and there was some definitely with Carlton Fisk, and there's been others where there was a lot of animosity. Things did not go well when the parties left, and it took a beat, more than a beat, for that reconciliation to happen. And I hope
the common denominator is there, Nick. If there was one common denominator that you could think of why things end poorly for the players in this organization, it's interesting.
Oh, Uncle Jerry, there was some stuff floating around that Ish did gobble up a lot of minority shares, and there were minority holders that just kind of folded and let him do work. I haven't heard anything in terms of numbers. It's obviously not a publicly traded company, but I don't know. I don't know where he stands, what his percentage is right now.
I haven't heard much lately. Obviously, nobody has. I think that story was hot for a little while. I'll be interested. I've imagined at some point during this season there will be more talks about it, and it will become somewhat of a story again. And that's what I'm excited about. You want to talk about things I'm excited for this season? Like, tell me there's a light at the end of the tunnel at some point.
Yeah.
That's what would get my juices going. As I've mentioned in the past, that's not new news.
Yeah, you were that episode a few episodes ago. You were a man possessed. You were a man on fire for this ish situation.
I read anything and listened to anything I could get my hands on.
Oh, you know what? I forgot to mention to you, and it's it's related to the Sox, but it's a different topic. I got a call from a ticket rep a couple weeks ago that I don't know why I wasn't told of this last season, but when I ended my 7-year run as a season ticket holder, apparently I had some monies in my account.
Oh,
maybe because I bought into a playoff package that never came to fruition or something. I don't know. I have sitting there some funds, and he contacted me and he said, you've got a sizable amount of money here in this, you might want to, look into a package or something or whatever. So I think I've got enough to get myself like a flex, one of those 10 packs. So
you have the option of getting your own money back, or is it just theirs to hold?
That's a great question. I did not. Because I know I want to go to some games, right?
Yeah.
There's too many bobblehead games to not go to those. So I'm like, I'm just going to put it towards some tickets.
Okay.
So
Good for you. That's a
yeah.
nice surprise. It's like finding a $20 bill in your pants before you wash them.
Yeah. It was the feel good story of the week at that point.
Good for you.
And that was right around the whole.
Was this a secret conversation?
I did not mention it for the first because I had to map things out of how it was going to work and what dates I needed to clear and then after I figured things out, then I kind of talked about it.
And the plan was displayed.
Yeah,
this is what's happening.
And so you got to be careful with that stuff.
I know. I'm aware.
You got to be very careful to not get too excited about something, and then it's like, ooh, I didn't even have the foundation. You got to have the foundation of your plot of what you're going to do. You got to know what's going on here. You got to be ready. You got to be ready for kind of the counter, and you got to be prepared for all the different things, and then you can put the plan and demonstrate it.
And that's how you have a very successful marriage. It's all about wondering what the next move of your opponent will be.
Yeah, it is, man, keep you up at night, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
It's a chess match. It really is.
It's wonderful. Okay, so before we get to our quote of the week, which is from the very lovable, everybody loves him, Brooks Boyer. Do you have predictions? Yeah, is it worth doing any predictions for 2025? Do you have anything that you're making guesses on?
No, I'm not going to make a guess on anything because I don't know enough about any of these players to really have. I guess I do have a prediction that I'll say Robert is gone before we get to June. Well, that'll be my prediction.
Before we get to June.
Man. And one thing I didn't predict, and I texted you, and I never told you this, and it's not a quote of the week because it's too long of a story to tell. But I would have never predicted I'd hear DJ utter the word "jagbag" on the air.
That is, if we could get the audio of that.
It almost made me drive off the road and I called you. You didn't. You were busy. You didn't answer.
I missed your call. I was probably telling my wife the great plan about my ticket money.
That's how our relationship really works for the audience. So I hear things or see things. And I'm driving. I can't wait to text you when I'm not moving. So he was telling some story, and then he uttered the word. Well, you just never know when you're going to run into a jagbag, and I thought I never thought I'd hear a broadcaster use the word jagbag on the air. So
he doesn't have any idea what he probably said. And folks, if you're old enough, I've told this story several times, but years ago, I mean, I am talking about when he was on TV with Hawk. Okay, so this is before I would think this was before the 2005 year. Hawk's famous saying, "Sit back, relax, and strap it down." Well, DJ for some reason decided he was going to say that line. I don't know if Hawk was like, "You're ready to say it," and DJ says, "Sit back, relax, and strap it on." And boy, it just. I mean, if you were paying attention, it kind of, you just stopped and was like, huh? What is he talking about? And you could probably just see Hawk just fuming, turning red. Like, I gave you this one chance, dadgummit, and you said, strap it on. What is wrong with you?
We rehearsed it over dinner. We many times, and this is what happened. So yeah, I would have never predicted that DJ would utter the word jagbag on the air.
DJ's still around, and he's gotten a lot better over the years. He's absolutely gotten a lot better, but it's still he's sometimes still just a tough listen. Just doesn't. It just seems like he's just restricting against, like, he's got like his the way he wants to do things, and then he's like battling against this other thing of how he should be doing things as a broadcaster. And there's this wrestling match going on.
Silky smooth is not how I would describe his broadcast style.
No. But he's a ambassador of the team, and he's been around for a long time, and he's got great stories, and so it's wonderful. I don't have very many predictions either. I think it's going to be painful. It's going to last seemingly forever, and there's going to be no way out. How's that?
You paint such a rosy picture of the season.
How's that? No, I'm just happy that Sox baseball is back, and I predict that.
You're not keeping somebody prisoner, right? And there's no way out. It's just being a fan of the team, right?
We've got your money. We clearly are only giving it back to you in flex packs. So, sorry. It's like I think I even asked, like, can I just get just my money so I can just buy individual tickets or something? And we had some back and forth, and I wasn't by my phone anymore. And it was like, clearly this gentleman just needs a sale.
Yeah,
this dude needs a sale. You ever run into a salesman where it's like, oh, you need one? It's like you've had a drought, and you are just like trying everything. Who knows?
You got to put one on the board somehow. It doesn't matter. You got to get a yes. Getting no after no after no as a salesperson. Of being in sales for a long time. The yeses don't come by every day. You get 90% no's most of the time. But when you can't bank on that 10% of the time you're getting a yes, and it's creeping up to like everything is a no all the time, it can be discouraging. So I hope for his sake or her sake, whoever you're talking to, that you do buy a flex pack and that you do make somebody's day.
I think I'm
already there anyway. I mean, it's not like you're opening up the wallet anymore. They have it already. They're just holding it hostage.
They basically are holding it hostage. So I will, I'll probably do that this week. And
did they send pictures of the money and they're hurting it in some way, like crumpling it up?
Yeah, it's
look what we're doing to your money.
Yeah, they had it crumpled in like the bottom of a urinal, and just like there's more of that where this is happening. So no, I'll figure that out. But looking forward to Thursday. Hope we meet a bunch of people at Cork and Carry and over in Lot B, and have some good food, and hope for a White Sox winner against the hated Angels. So here is your quote of the week. This is from Brooks Boyer, most recently this past week with the whole new food and bev rollout. We can't control what happens between those white lines when grown men have a round ball and round bat, says
what is happening?
Says White Sox marketing director, mind you, Brooks Boyer. Everything else we have some control over, and make the experience as clean and valuable to our season ticket holders and to our fans. We want to wow everybody every time they come in our ballpark. End quote. So,
beautiful, good.
Yeah,
that's
a man that's like, I got a job for life. I can say whatever I want, and I'm going to wax on about the round ball and round bat and
grown men
physics. Just grown men.
Yeah, well, that's good. I like Brooks.
Oh, we all do.
There.
Yeah,
good for Brooks.
Yeah, he's the
hardest working man in sports.
Oh, sure. It's we'll see, man. We'll see how the ballpark looks. See what kind of new little things have been done, and I am excited for the celebration of the 05 team, 125 years, and all the stuff they're going to have for Burley later on. And hopefully we see some maturation and some growth for some of the young guys. Will Venable, he can control it. Got his finger on the pulse, because it is a clean slate, and I think that's in my feelings, that's the refreshing part of 2025.
We'll see. I'm looking forward to, like I said a couple of weeks ago, I'm looking forward to getting to know Will Venable and what kind of leader he is going to be. And will it be a short stint here on the South Side? We shall see.
Yeah, this will play out for several years until they bring Ricky Renteria back. Folks, always a pleasure. This is so fun. I'm looking forward to doing this now every Sunday night consistently. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit that, jam that like button, jam
it on, and jam that like button.
Don't be a jag bag. Smash the like button and join us live if you can on Sunday nights. But the audio available absolutely everywhere, wherever you find your podcast. Pass it along to other Sox fans if they could stomach more White Sox chatter, or any to begin with. We do appreciate that. Hope to see you out at the ballpark on Thursday, Pat. I'm feeling good, man. Now we got to get our plans in place.
Cheers, buddy. Look forward to talking to you next Sunday, right? Because we're going to go back to every week. So don't forget, you can listen to us now every single MF and Sunday if you want to.
How's that? Love it. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Until next time, go Sox.